Hey, what is up guys? I'm p30 here, and welcome to the Smartphone Awards 2017. So the way we do it here, there were a lot of phones released over the course of this year from different manufacturers, in different styles, in different price ranges, with different features, all kinds of stuff like that. So this show is the best way to figure out the best of what's come out in the last 12 months. So the way we do it here is I'm going to declare in each category a winner. And then also, if there are some other good ones, I can declare a second place, sort of a runner-up, which is also really good in that category, and then maybe some honorable mentions. Every single phone on this desk was released during 2017. That hasn't always been true about this show, but that's true this year. You can check me on that. So there's a lot to choose from, so let's get started. So category number 1 is Best Big Phone. So phones keep getting bigger every year. There's almost no way around that, even with the shrinking bezels. And I'm a big phone person, not gonna lie. If there's a regular version and a plus version of a phone, I'm taking the plus. I'm taking the XL or the bigger one. And so these are gonna be the best phones that take the most advantage of having a large amount of space. So big display, big battery, big features, etc. And the winner for that category for 2017 is gonna be the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. The Note 8 does it all, and it's been a kind of a staple big phone for a while in their lineup. The biggest reason I usually want a big phone is for a big screen. Note 8 has that. It's the best display on any phone. It has a pretty big battery. It has big optically stabilized dual cameras. It has a big stylus for those who are into that, big specs, and of course, big software features to take advantage of being such a large phone. I still remember when the first Galaxy Note came out, like the first two were such a staple in like the tech on YouTube community, because that was like the phone that had everything. You would take that phone to CES because it had the longest battery life and a replaceable battery. This is still that slight step above Galaxy S8 in their lineup. It kind of always will be that way, and holds a special place in my heart for that reason. But there is a runner-up, and that came from actually a pretty new player in the space. It's as new as you can get. They exist in the space for the first time this year, and they happen to do a really good job of taking advantage of so much space in a phone, and that's the Razr phone. The Razr phone is an awesome use of being big. In a world of these super thin bezels, this phone is bigger than normal, and shamelessly so. It keeps the huge bezels, and inside them it fits these huge speakers, which are pretty much best in class, and it also happens to have a huge 4,000 milliamp hour battery. It doesn't have quite as many, big screen features as, say, a Samsung phone. It doesn't have as much split screen multitasking fun. It doesn't have a stylus and all that stuff, but it's just a good use of space in the hardware department. For being such a big phone, I really like it. So the next category is Best Compact Phone. And this is a rare breed, not gonna lie. Like, the compact flagship smartphone is much less popular just because phones are still getting that much bigger. So the definition of a compact phone has changed, in size especially, but for me the definition is still gonna be one that keeps as many flagship features as possible in a small package. And so for that reason, the winner of this category is iPhone 8. iPhone 8 is a legit flagship to a lot of people. It has all the highest end specs and almost every single feature of the iPhone 8 Plus except for the dual cameras, and it's in the smallest package. So it's easily the most compact. If you're a small hands person, you want the lightest, smallest device possible, iPhone 8 is gonna do that for you. It kinda got overshadowed by the slightly bigger iPhone 10 and the even bigger iPhone 8 Plus, but if you're looking for obviously a great camera, a pretty solid IPS display, if you're still into the fingerprint reader on the front, Touch ID is still extremely fast. This thing is complete, so that's getting the best compact smartphone. But if you're looking for a runner-up in that category, I think it's a no-brainer to give that to a slightly bigger phone, but still one that keeps all the flagship features of its big brother, and that would be the Pixel 2. If your biggest complaint is that you don't get the better camera of the iPhone 8 Plus on the iPhone 8, Pixel 2 has the exact same camera as Pixel 2 XL. It's a little bit boxier and has a little bit bigger bezels, but you still get front-facing speakers, you still get a great display, and you still get all the same specs and features as you do on the bigger phone. So this is another smaller version of a phone that does all the same things as its bigger brother. It might even have a better screen than the XL. Also, another honorable mention shout out to the Galaxy S8 for being by far the best designed compact phone. The S8 Plus is its bigger brother, but you still get the infinity display and of course all the same specs as the S8 Plus in this smaller phone. So again, if you're into smaller phones, all the features of the bigger brother will come from those. So the next category is Best Camera. And this was a good one this year. Obviously, everyone here on this desk has a camera on the back, and most people take most of the photos in their life with their smartphone camera. And the winner for this year, this category, actually took such good photos and videos that it spoiled me to the point where I didn't want to use some other phones this year because the cameras just didn't stack up. It was that good. They've always been good, but this year it was particularly great. The winner for best camera in a smartphone is Google Pixel 2. This was a pretty easy one for me. The photos and videos from this guy, but particularly the photos, are ridiculous from Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL. Awesome detail, dynamic range, sharpness, fast focus, image stabilization, low light performance. It's pretty much great at everything, and it's just super easy to use. And on top of all of that, the portrait mode is incredible with one camera. So again, it does the same thing in the Pixel 2 and 2 XL. I'm gonna link all the reviews of all the phones I talk about in the description below that like button. So if you wanna see all the sample photos and hear me rave in detail about each one, then you can check that out. But for now, just know that Pixel 2 takes the best photos you can get on a smartphone. My runner-up is one that I think actually does better video, just because 240 frames per second, slow motion, high quality 1080p video is severely underrated. And that comes from the dual optically image stabilized camera wielding iPhone X. Not a lot of cameras are capable of what this thing is in the video department, and it fits in your pocket, which is awesome. But I think most importantly, despite its exposure problems, iPhone X photos have the best colors. Like if I could combine the Pixel 2's image processing and dynamic range and portrait mode and sharpness and detail and all of that with the iPhone's colors, I totally would. So the next one is best budget phone. So this is gonna be the one that gives you the most smartphone for the least amount of money. That's what it's all about. You can ask people, everyone has a different definition of budget. If you say, what's the best cheap phone? Cheap means something different to everyone. But either way you look at it, this winner has the best smartphone bang for the buck, the most phone for the least money, and that one is the OnePlus 5T. And that's because for the price, this thing really is a flagship. From the design, the all-metal build, the thin bezels, the dual cameras, the high-end specs, 8 gigs of RAM, it's not skimping anywhere. It even keeps the headphone jack. But in a year where we've seen phones costing $700, $800, $900, even $1,000, the OnePlus 5T does almost everything they all do, and it starts at $499. That is serious bang for the buck, and that's why it wins the award this year. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, wait a second, $500 isn't quite what I would consider budget. And I agree, again, cheap is different for everyone. So I'll give my runner-up to Moto G5 Plus, which is still the best phone you could get under $300. In fact, it's probably closer to $200 now. We reviewed it so long ago, earlier this year, but it's still the best bang for the buck under that price range. And I'll also give an honorable mention to Huawei Honor 7X. All these phones are doing great things for the money, and I'll repeat what I have said before. Good phones are getting cheap, well, not so much, we still get $1,000 flagships, but cheap phones are getting really good. So the next category is best battery life. This one's pretty simple, right? We just look for the ones that have the longest lasting battery that will last an entire day. Us heavy users look for long screen on time, and we look for being able to take it off the charger early in the morning and not touch it again until late that night with no issues. And the winner for that category has been the Razer phone. So another award for the newcomer in 2017, Razer phone made a great use of that space, that big chassis and that huge inside. They put a 4,000 milliamp hour battery in here, and it showed. It lasts a really long time. They built this phone around gaming, so a lot of their decisions were around gaming. 8 gigs of RAM, because it'll make gaming better. Big speakers, because it'll make gaming better. Huge battery, because gaming is really battery intensive. But a lot of those things just make a better phone. So if you're not gaming all the time, Razer phone still has a huge battery, which means it lasts almost forever. So that's why it won the award this year. I'll leave the full review link below if you want to check that out, but I'll also give some runner-ups, or sort of an honorable mention, to 2 phones that lasted a really long time. One is Pixel 2 XL. The OLED display, stock Android, and huge battery did great for it. Lasted all day for me, pretty much every time. And also, my iPhone 8 Plus is still the king of standby time. It's a huge battery and a smaller display because of those big old bezels, but that just means it lasts you all day, and if you use an iPhone, you kind of know already this thing is really good. So this next category is my design award, and this is one that's actually kind of evolved over the years, because it used to just be the one that had the craziest design. It used to be the best built phone. This year in 2017, it's going to be the one that I think has the best combo of design and build. And that's gonna go to another newcomer for this year, and it's the essential phone. This was one of my favorite and most polarizing phones of the year. I really couldn't recommend it because when it first came out, it fell short in a couple other categories like the camera and battery life for the price they were trying to charge. But now that they've dropped the price so much, I really think this is one of the best looking phones to come out, and it's worth the price again. It's a ceramic back, titanium sides, and there's all different ways to handle super thin bezels, but this notch really grew on me. And when you actually look back at using the phone, I got used to it really quick. I liked it a lot, and I think overall this one's the design award. So now that I've ruffled your feathers with the notch, I do have some runner-ups also, and I'm gonna give that to the iPhone X, again, for getting rid of the home button. The iPhone had huge forehead and chin bezels for so long that even if there is a notch, I again got used to it really quickly, and I think getting rid of the home button was a major step for it, so that gets the runner-up award. And I'll also give it to Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. The super clean design from the review you've already seen, but the overhanging glass on each side, it's not everybody's favorite because of the curved edges and some potential accidental screen touches, but I think it's super clean, and it's hard to argue with just how good it looks being this glass sandwich and this super sleek design. So that's my design award. So this next award is for the biggest bust of the year. There's a bust every year. I hate giving out this award because you want to be positive and you want to focus on the best of the best because there's so much good, but some just stick out like a sore thumb and just are not a good use of space for some particular reason. So the bust of the year for 2017, as you probably saw coming, is the HTC U Ultra. Yeah, no, this one takes the cake. Worst phone of the year for 2017. Just not a lot good to say about this one. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. If you watched the review on it or if you've seen the title, you know exactly how I feel. So I don't want to spend a ton of time on that. But if we move on quickly to the next award, to chill out the HTC Elevate comment section, this is the biggest comeback of the year. It's the most improved player. It's just sometimes you have to fall down hard to take your next biggest step up, and I think that's exactly what HTC did this year because then HTC U11 came out and it turned out to be great. Yeah, this thing had a lot more going for it. It has obviously the sweet color changing back, which I'm a big fan of. But just generally was a really good phone, had a much better camera. It didn't add a headphone jack, but it had speakers, had a really nice display and a nice software experience from HTC. And these phones would also introduce us to that squeeze feature with the pressure sensitive sides to launch something that we would later see in the Pixel 2 and 2 XL. So that was really cool to see. And then even later in this year, HTC came out with the HTC U11 Plus, which I don't have because it never came to the US, but that was an even more complete, more impressive phone. That thing had an even better camera. It had an even better design with the see-through back that I think looked really cool. So yeah, HTC's year kind of went something like that, but then had a thing like that. They kind of had comeback player of the year written on their forehead from the beginning. And so that brings us to the MVP, the finale, the best phone of the year to come out in 2017. And there can only be one, but there were so many great phones that came out over the past 365 days. You know, Pixel 2 had its highlights, LG V30, probably the most underrated. We had OnePlus 5T doing big things for low prices. Even Huawei Mate 10 Pro flying under the radar, iPhone 10 making waves. So many big new phone names coming out, Razer phone, essential phones, stuff we didn't expect to see. But there's only one MVP. There's only one most complete phone of the year. And my winner for that is the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. This is actually the most complete smartphone that came out this year. Honestly, the biggest problem I have with this design, I know there's a lot of glass phones out right now, is the placement of the fingerprint reader, and that is a nitpick for a lot of people. Everything else about this, it's waterproof, it keeps the headphone jack, it has a stylus, it has a huge battery, it has great software experience, it has the best screen on any phone. It has dual cameras, both optically image stabilized. It has big specs, lots of RAM, fast processor, loud cameras, expandable storage. Did I mention it's water resistant already? I mean, this thing is super complete. It is expensive, and I think a lot of people have trouble spending $1,000 on a phone, but if you were to, you would want it to be as complete as the Note 8, so I actually don't have a problem with its price. This probably could have also technically won Comeback Player of the Year, considering what happened to the Galaxy Note 7, which was bust of the year for exploding in everyone's pockets. With the bezels this thin and the overall design, it's kind of what a lot of people are looking up to. Again, if Samsung could move that fingerprint reader down a little bit, I'd be really happy, but Galaxy Note 8 is the MVP. And I have some runner-ups too. My first runner-up for MVP is gonna be the Pixel 2 XL. This phone, again, also has a lot going for it. It has the best camera in any phone. In my experience, it has the best software and the fastest updates, of course, already to Android 8.1. The fingerprint reader's in the right place. It doesn't have the headphone jack, but it has great front-facing speakers. The display on the XL is probably the only one that really kept it holding back, but this is the phone that I have used for the longest time this year that my SIM card has been in as my daily driver for a couple of months. I keep coming back to it. So that's why I give the first runner-up to the Pixel 2. And then my honorable mention is gonna go to iPhone 10, just for finally shifting what it means to be an iPhone. Because honestly, being an iPhone in my mind before this thing came out meant not having modern design and not having thin bezels on the top or the bottom. And this changes that. This has a modern design and thin bezels. Now it's also paved the way for a bunch of other $1,000 phones to come out now that this is so damn expensive. But I like that it's paved the way for future iPhones to also be modern and clean and admirable in the design department the way they haven't been. So that's a good start. So that's it. That's the best of what's come out this year in 2017. Not a bad year, if you ask me, as far as what came out. And whether you're a person that has, a preference for low budget phones, or if you like big phones or compact phones, or if you need an all-day battery, whatever you're into, whatever you need from a smartphone, you can probably get it, and you'd be hard-pressed going wrong with something on this table right now. Smartphone cameras got so good that I'm more encouraged than ever to take photos with my Pixel 2. The displays got so amazing. Galaxy Note 8 looks like a freaking movie theater if you're looking at it in the dark. Like, there's so many good things to focus on that it's just fun to look back at the stuff that came out over the year, and that's part of why this series is so fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you got someone that's looking to buy a phone around this holiday season, you should probably send them this video. But until then, until the next one, thank you for watching. Talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.